Hey y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Jonathan.
Well, hello.
Hope you guys are doing well. Jonathan, how's your week been?
It's been good. Busy, kind of crazy, but not bad. How about you?
Yeah, doing okay. Could be worse, could be better.
Yeah.
We're starting off on a chipper note. Let's go ahead and get into our question of the week. Jonathan, I spent all week watching ICE terrorize people in Minneapolis, and I kind of was thinking to myself, when did we vote for the Empire? Why did we end up this way?
Yeah,
I grew up rooting for Luke Skywalker. you know?
Well, we've had hope that the powers that be will aim for the Star Trek future that we dream of, and it's obviously Palpatine's future, so not great. Yeah,
so our question of the week, so I was thinking, like, I Rebel Alliance all the way, right? I'm literally wearing the hat right now. So my question of the week is, what rebels are your favorite in fiction? Jonathan, why don't you go and take it away?
All right, so before I talk about my favorite, as always, I have multiple, but my first is just going to be a quick honorable mention, is the Maquis from Star Trek Voyager. Yeah, it's
on my list too.
Love Star Trek Voyager, right? The reason why they're not my number one rebel group is not only were they on the wrong side of the fight from my perspective, they had reasons to fight for what they were fighting for, but we, like the Federation, that we think they are reaching this peaceful collective to bring all the species together and stuff like that. But not only were they on the wrong side, but also, I mean, they lost. They were demolished relatively quickly from our perspective of what we see in the show. So some of their fighters became some of our favorite characters in Voyager, but in the end, they were not effective in their goal. The ones that I do think are my favorite, though, is the Dawn from Handmaid's Tale, in the fact that they are very effective, though they're fighting an entire country regime, but they are so well embedded. They're very sneaky. They have good like code and stuff like that. And I mean, the fact that they can just like disappear groups of people at a time to escape to freedom is like underground railroad situation is really cool.
I'm ready for the spinoff of that. There's a spinoff coming up too. It's like 10 years later.
Yeah,
they're working on that right now. I've got obviously a long list here, but I think one of them that I thought was like the one I would pretend to be as a kid a lot or younger person is Neo from Matrix, like the entire human resistance. Talk about, I mean, what a great example, right? People are plugged into the machine. They're just trying to have a blind eye to the world around them. But there are people who are awoken to the reality and are trying to fight this oppressive machinery. Which is, boy, does that sound apt right now? And I mean, Neo's a badass. Who doesn't want to be Neo? Spinning around kicking Agent Smiths in the face. And even Agent Smith, I like to think of as kind of like the people who are normally on that side and are also like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't right either. when you kind of have a little bit of alliance going on. But yeah, I mean, there's a long list of them I could go over, but I thought that one was the best. Maquis was on my list too, and Harry Potter and Dumbledore's army, like they're badasses fighting against this overpowered Voldemort. I hate to say his name. It's weird that stuck through. I don't want to say Voldemort's name.
Fear, like saying Beetlejuice too much.
Exactly.
Who else? Oh, of course, Star Wars, the Rebel Alliance, but even more so the rebels we see in Andor. I love how we got to see like behind the curtain more with all that.
Tony Gilroy, the guy who made that show, he even said, like, I didn't plan on making such a relevant show. Just happened. It's like, yeah, nailed it, brother. That song sings.
But enjoy.
Yeah. Please watch that damn show if you guys haven't watched it for some reason. And there's a long list of, I mean, God, the wildlings from Game of Thrones. There's a long list of rebels that are the people we root for. And so make sure you check it out. That's actually, just to throw that out there, the whole thing with the wildlings is that the entire time you're told they're the bad guys. And then as you're watching it, you realize, or reading it, you realize, oh no, the wildlings are not bad guys. They're just being used to create power on the other side. And so, anyways.
They're the free people trying to live by their own laws, and everyone else is trying to weaponize them as the enemy.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe out there, guys. Know that while we try to not necessarily talk about politics, because Geek Freaks is a place where we like to escape all the news that we watch as well, and we hope that you guys can invite us there too. But know that we're with you, and it's tough times. Yeah.
And speak up where you can, do what you can, escape with us every once in a while to be able to turn off that noise and have a little bit of fun and sanity. But when you're out there in the world and you see something wrong, what's right and wrong? So you got to speak up and say something.
And talk to your family, talk to your friends, and talk to your therapist, because that's so important too. let's go ahead and again get into some levity here and kind of take a break from the overload that's in our minds with some reactions to 2 new trailers that we had. Jonathan, have you had a chance to watch both these trailers?
I did. I actually just rewatched them both just now too. They're both killer though. I gotta say, I'm excited about them.
Let's start with Maul, and I know you're a Darth Maul fan. So we got Maul, Shadow Lord. What'd you think, man?
So not only I love Maul, but I haven't seen like Rebels or Clone Wars hardly at all.
That is wild to me.
Yeah, I know. And in my head, I'm like, well, my son's only 4. When he's like 6, this might be just right for him. So I keep telling myself like, well, I'm gonna wait when he sees a little bit of interest, like Avatar. I keep putting it on. As soon as he shows interest in Avatar, we're watching it. Like I'm gonna call out for a week. Yeah, but I'll put it on. He just wanders away and plays something else. Like, come on, kid, come back. But I keep telling myself as soon as he's interested,
that's a good Rebel group too. Team Avatar, actually.
Yeah, that's true. I keep telling myself once he's old enough and he's really interested, we'll watch it together. After seeing this trailer, I'm sorry, kid. I'll have to do the rewatch with you. I think I need to start watching Rebels. I got to go and Clone Wars.
100%.
There's so much to watch already. But in anticipation for this, it looks so good. I don't know if the animation is probably just the same as Rebels, but it looks so clean, so much detail to it, more than a lot of other animation styles.
Well, I want to throw in on that, Jonathan, real quick. It is very much Clone Wars and Rebels animation, but Whitwer, the guy that voices Darth Maul, said that it's changed a little bit because it's through Maul's perspective. So it's darker, it's grittier. You're seeing the Star Wars that made him Darth Maul, that made him want to rise to the top of this crime syndicate. Yeah, it's like more adult version of an already pretty adult animated series, Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, it looks so. I mean, from the trailer, you don't see. I wasn't able to see a whole lot of the plot, but he's part of this. You were just saying it. This crime syndicate. Yeah, and rising to power and everything. But I love. It looks like they're on Coruscant, or at least another mega city in the future like that, and galaxy far, far away.
I love Coruscant.
It just looks, it looks awesome. I'm excited for it, and I think I do have to go through and watch Clone Wars and Rebels. My only concern is it being animated like this. It's got me really interested, but I don't know if it's going to have that broad spectrum appeal like Andor would, or anything else Star Wars that's live action. Because a lot of people, I think, will say, like they do with Avatar, oh, it's animated, it must be a kid's show. And it's like, man, the writing, though, granted, Avatar is a little more silly than Clone Wars or Rebels would be, but you got to give it a shot.
Well, I think that Star Wars now knows that they have an avenue of animated fans. So they don't necessarily need to pull from all Star Wars fans. They're just following up with a Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch is the third one.
Oh, that's
and now
right,
this. Yeah. I don't think that they're trying to do that anymore. Maybe with Clone Wars, they were like trying to reach all kids or something like that. And then Clone Wars, it's interesting because that one, like the first season really, but maybe even like the first half of the season, clearly made for like Nickelodeon. But then suddenly they were like, what? The dads are watching, and the dads and moms are watching more than the kids are. And then it goes into like, and then Rebels just embraces it right away. So I do feel like they're not trying to reach all Star Wars fans. They just want to give another follow-up to the people who like the animation stuff. And this is all led by Dave Filoni, who's now the guy that's leading all of Star Wars. So if you guys want to get a vibe for how Dave Filoni does things, you're going to be watching the Maul Shadow Lord series. What do you think about Darth Maul being the lead for this? Do you think he's a character that can lead a series?
Oh, I think so for sure. You think he's got, well, it's hard because I haven't seen all the other stuff about him, but I'm like, there's just a little bit about him in the movies. So there's so much they can explore. They've explored a lot. I just haven't seen most of it, but he's a really interesting character. They got fans hooked as soon as they saw him on screen. So I think that, and the fact that it's going to be from his perspective where we can somehow sympathize with him, and we're in his shoes now, even though it might be a twisted view of things, you're going to kind of want to align with him to some degree, I think. Yeah, I think that has huge potential.
One thing I'll give you some context on Darth Maul then from Rebels. And a very interesting thing about him is he is not a Sith Lord or anything like that anymore. He was abandoned by the Sith. So while he doesn't like Jedis, he hates the Empire. And he hates the Empire not because they're bad people, but because they betrayed him. He wanted to be a bad person with them. And he doesn't like that. What he's seeing is like, this is not what I was promised. This is not the world we were supposed to build. We were supposed to build a world of complete freedom, which is a Sith thing. And instead, you guys are not doing complete freedom to the point where like sometimes complete freedom could be like, hey, wait a minute. That's Maul's whole thing.
It sounds like he's at a perfect position, too, where you can see both sides. And we might find easily that though the Sith are so bad and they're corrupt, the Empire is evil, but the Jedi Order is not perfect either. And like the balance that they were pursuing is not balance, it was control. We might easily see that he's in the right and that he's being hunted from both sides or pushed away by both sides and not embraced. But it's because he's trying to call out injustice from the bad guys and from the heroes, supposedly.
Yeah.
On either side.
And he's the kind of guy where like the justice comes at a tip of a lightsaber, where they described him when pitching the show was Palpatine's 10 out of 10 evil. And the Darth Vader's 9.9 out of 10 evil. But Maul's 8.5. Yeah. Like there's moments where you see something of light there. It'll be interesting to see where this show goes. I'm loving the idea of exploring more of Darth Maul. What a fantastic character that, I mean, we all thought was just dead because the dude was cut in half. And thank God they're like, let's just resurrect him. Yeah, it's a little bit far-fetched, but we got so much more of him now, so it's really worth it. Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Masters of the Universe, Jonathan. When I was a kid, this came out, and I may be ancient compared to everybody around me, but I'm not old enough to actually have watched this as a kid. Yeah. I watched it a little bit as I grew up, but it just seemed like a world that was like, man, this is confusing, because why is there like fantasy and laser guns and spaceships and a running cat? I had the action figures and stuff like that. But watching this trailer, right away, I'm taken to the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out a few years back. It was like, man, what just a fun adventure, really good CGI. This looks like a blast.
Yeah, so like you, I hadn't seen any of it as a kid. I remember seeing He-Man and the big sword and the giant cat and all that kind of stuff, just from like the action figures and references to it. I don't think I'd ever watched it. I didn't even really understand that it was like in space or on other planets and stuff. But watching this trailer, it looks to me immediately, I get the vibes of Thor, which I love, especially the original Thor.
Oh, good call.
And it's like Thor, but with the fantasy dialed up a little bit more. So it's got maybe like a little bit of Lord of the Rings kind of mixed in there or something. I mean, yeah, Thor already has elements of fantasy too, but yeah, it's just like next level. I'm hoping that we like it. We'll see about the Curse with Jared Leto in it, but I do think it looks like a really good movie for that, like, or hopefully a series of movies if they're building a world with this. But it looks like it would be great for that like 11 to 15-year-old range. Yeah. And that might be a new, like when we first started watching Harry Potter and stuff like that, it might be a new good franchise for that age group especially.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting is they decided to go with like this fun fantasy, really vibrant colors, just embracing the wackiness of the world. They're telling the story through almost a meta lens, where we're seeing Prince Adam is actually this guy that works at an HR, and then he's like, I know I have this sword or whatever. He finds the sword and goes back to Eternia. That little like meta lens lets us kind of not take everything that we see so seriously, which I think was a good move. Now, the other alternative to this is they could have done this like really dark reboot, make it to where it was like, oh, what if it was all real and stuff like that. And sometimes we just gotta like take it back a little bit and just have some fun. That's what I think what it is about the D&D show movie that like really, really struck me was like when you're watching it, you're expecting this dark fantasy or this like cool epic adventure. But like that's not a D&D session. A real D&D session is someone doing something stupid, and then we're all laughing about it and then trying to make it work. And this kind of feels the same vibe.
Yeah, it has that flexibility in it. Like you're saying, if watching it from a meta perspective, you're realizing like, oh, it may not be, I mean, it's the way a comic book is to some degree, but it's like you're not necessarily reading it word for word. It's interpretation to some level, or somebody telling you the story of an adventure they were on, not really being there at the adventure. So it lends you that freedom to laugh about something that seems a little too silly, but you're like, well, it's a comic book movie. And I think we're getting better at telling comic book stories on screen. I think is what we're starting to see.
I think we're starting to flex a little bit or have this ability to stretch our perspective too, to where it's okay if some comic book movies are gritty, comic books are silly, and the wide stories in between. And for some reason, we're no longer just like telling the Iron Man, Superman stories where it's just an origin story, fights a bad guy. Now we're a little bit more stretched out, and I like that we're in that world now.
Rediscovering our childlike imagination? Maybe.
Damn it, nostalgia's working for us this time. It's not just being something that we buy.
All right.
The question in the room is Skeletor, played by Jared Leto. Now, I think he looks dope as hell.
Yeah.
But just saying Jared Leto, this is the one time where I'm like, I wish I just used an AI voice.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, there's not a lot of acting involved. How else to get around him being in it? Can he be the mannequin that's just hanging out? I don't know. But
In the reboot cartoon, which I did watch, Mark Hamill was Luke Skywalker, was Skeletor, did a great job. And because he kind of has that like crackly, whimsical, like, hey man voice. And I'm like, I don't know if Jared's going to even try that. I think they're going to just have to do normal. That sucks. I kind of want that fun, wacky voice.
I think he will overact and try to do a very serious villain voice. But
yeah. Visually, though, looks dope as hell. I think he looks great. So
yeah, that's another reason why I think they're world building here, and this is going to be a bigger franchise if this one lands as they're hoping, because they're putting so much money into it. It obviously looks polished. It doesn't look like a low budget movie at all. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Looks good. It was not on my list at all. Things I was hyped about. It suddenly is now on the list. We got a good year for movies, guys. It's a movie pass year.
And that's when we get the best things, is when we don't expect it. When you have standards and expectations like Superman has to be Superman because everybody's loved him for lifetimes, it's going to disappoint. But then when it's like, oh, Iron Man, real low budget comic book, nobody really knows about the character. And then, exactly. Like, take the character that we don't really know about, and there's plenty of room for you to build and grow and change them and make a killer movie. I actually put the time into writing and invest into quality CGI, and we'll fall in love.
Let's stick into the world of upcoming fantasy projects. We have God of War. It's a series coming to Prime. They're going to start filming in March, and we're starting to get some casting. Now, first of all, they're following the God of War reboot that happened in 2018. So this is God of War 1 and 2. And Jonathan, I've suggested these games to you because I'm like, as a new dad, well, newer dad, now you're not so much of a new dad, but I think the father-son relationship in these games is fantastic. It's just a quick little rundown of what it is you have this guy who used to be a Greek god and a murderer or slay many. Now he's trying to live a peaceful life, and he wants to avoid gods at all costs, and he has a son, and his wife died. Him trying to, knowing that he himself is a god, and probably pass down that godness to his son, but also trying to keep him away from being that. It's a really complex relationship, and of course Atreus, his son, the entire time is like, I'm a big boy, Dad, that kind of thing, right? Where he's like, trust me, I could do this, I could do that, and as you play the game, you realize Atreus can do that. I could give him a little more expansion. And then the first game, you're coming to it as Kratos primarily. So the whole time you're like, he says boy. He always says boy this way, a certain way. Like, boy, sit back. Let me do things. I'm Kratos. But by the second game, you're kind of like, hey, Kratos, let's let him kind of explore a little bit. It's amazing how you grow up as a gamer as well during this franchise. This story being told now, we have our casting so far. For Sith, which is a witch character, is going to be played by Teresa Palmer. Heimdall is Max Parker. And then for Kratos himself, we have Ryan Hurst. A couple key things to know about these characters. So I'm going to go right to Heimdall. He is the villain you love to hate when you're watching somebody, the Joffrey of the room. Because Heimdall's able to see all things. You guys remember Heimdall from the MCU as well, played by Idris Elba. This version's a skinny little white dude, but he's able to see the future. So when you're fighting him, he knows your moves right before you do it. So he's real pain in the ass to fight. And he's real cocky about it. So expect a guy that you really want to hate. This is our Joffrey of everything. We're going to love when he dies. Yeah. And then Ryan Hurst playing Kratos. Jonathan, you remember the main guy from Remember the Titans? Or maybe you've watched him on Walking Dead. He was the guy with the big mask on. Sons of Anarchy.
I think I remember him from Remember the Titans.
Yeah. I know that's like where Miguel remembered him too. But yeah, he's going to be playing our Kratos, and I think he's a perfect casting. Even Christopher Judge, who does the voice for Kratos, came out and said, you nailed it. You got a really good person here. He's a great guy. I think this is going to be good.
I love the Greek mythology kind of world. Like we were just talking about Thor. I don't know, that kind of world is just fun to live in to some degree.
Just to jump in real fast so that people don't type too fast in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
That's Norse mythology. So he's a Greek god who basically killed his dad Zeus and then went to the Norse area to escape and live a simple life. So he's dealing with Norsemen now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And which one's Thor? Is that Greek
Thor
mythology?
is Norse.
Okay.
No, Thor is Norse. Yeah. And we have like Odin and Loki. They're all Norse. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Similar, but not the same. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that looks good though.
It looks good. Yeah. And the key to this whole, like, Ryan Hurst actually played Thor in the game. He's the voice of Thor. But yeah, The character I think that we're going to want to pay attention to the most, of course, Atreus, his son, is going to have to be very important casting. Kind of like when they cast Egg, you're like, all right, this kid, he's going to have to grow up into the role and stuff like that. And I think they nailed that one. With this one, this kid's got to be just the right kind of spunky pain in the butt, but also you're rooting for him a little bit. We're probably not going to like him a lot in the beginning. That's on purpose. And then I don't want to reveal too many things, but he ends up learning about himself to a degree where suddenly, like, oh, the weight is on this kid's shoulders.
Sounds like a Prince Zuko story.
Very much a Prince Zuko, yeah. Or Damian Wayne, the whatever, fifth Robin. He's a good example of that too. Also, Odin, because Odin is a character who comes to Atreus and tells him, like, hey, man, you belong with us. Why don't you come and join us instead of your dad? Your dad doesn't listen to you. And he's this kind of guy where you're like, man, Odin's kind of right. Like, Odin's respecting Atreus. Maybe he should go with them. The whole time you're like, no, Odin's against Kratos. He's another god who's lying to your face, and you're falling for it just like Atreus is, except you're not a kid. You should know better. There's a couple betrayals that happen in the game. You're like, son of a bitch. How did I fucking, trust this guy?
Nice.
But yeah. Do you think they should just stick with the Norse area, or should they do flashbacks and try to show some of the backstory to Kratos himself? Because the flashbacks are going to be to like Zeus and Ares and all the Greek gods.
I don't think it would hurt if you can build out more history, more character development. Like, I mean, even explaining to some degree the difference between the two and, how the timelines work and stuff like that to just broaden people's perspective and understanding of those gods and that history and stuff like that. I think it'd be cool.
I just worry it's going to be too confusing for people when you're like showing two different pantheons.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, without having any information about the two, I just assumed that they are like connected, that they're the same.
Yeah.
So maybe.
And I think for like an average viewer, that's going to be real common. They're going to see Thor and Zeus throwing around lightning bolts. I mean, it's going to look very similar.
Yeah.
Looking at our next big thing here, we have Fable had a full reveal.
Oh, yeah. So it's the new Fable game. I haven't played the old Fables either, but it's going to be an open world game now, which before you kind of stuck on the rails and you got to go mission to mission and stuff. It looks like I know it's been years in the making, but they put so much effort and quality into making it look really clean. It's like playing Skyrim or something like that. Yeah. The real beautiful landscape. You can just kind of stand out in the mountains and be in awe of the world that they built. But being open world, you can kind of build your adventure, go where you want to go, when you want to go. You design your character like you would in a lot of newer games. It looks like a lot of fun, and I haven't played any of the other Fable games, so I know there's a lot of throwbacks with like the chicken. They said there's chickens in a lot of places, yeah. But I can't explain what's different about this than other games.
The thing that stood out to me was like, oh, that's right, the old Fable games are funny. Yeah. And the fact that they're taking a classic adventure RPG and letting the humor sing, so much so, this is the first time it's ever been done. The cutscenes are going to be done mockumentary style. So The Office, where we're not necessarily seeing this big thing going on, like this big conversation between two people. We're going to randomly see somebody like talking to camera like, that guy's nuts, right? and it's like, how are you going to do that? I'm so interested because this is a British developed game and they're wanting to really infuse it with British humor, which of course The Office is. Yeah. That's going to be tricky. Do you think that's going to land well?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's funny, and it doesn't have to be so funny with the fact that at least it's different and it's going to stand out as unique. I think that'll get people to play it and check it out just with that. But it's also a Fable, which is based on, it's known for being at least a little bit whimsical and funny in the storytelling. Yeah. So I think that would help a lot, that people are already looking in that direction for it.
Speaking of the whimsy, during the gameplay video, they talked about how less of a big lore grand story. This is going to be leaning in on like fairy tale. So it's going to feel more like a fairy tale in that like a fairy will come and help you, or you find some tree that can talk that's like, yeah, go this way. That's where the bar's at. And that too kind of leans into the humor of it all. And I think it's going to be a fun one. One of the key aspects of the old games was that, you could marry people. You could romance people. It's kind of those big dialogue trees. There are over 1,000 distinct NPCs with unique names and unique dialogue trees and voice acting that you could romance any of them. And before, like, if you were good or bad, the game would change, but like a bad person would grow horns. And now it's not necessarily black and white. You might be morally bad because you own a bunch of houses and you're the rich guy in town. Well, some people are into rich dudes, but some people don't like rich dudes. You could be super nice but rich, but they're like, man, I don't trust you, Elon Musk. Stuff like that. I like the complexity there. And I'm like, oh man, I want to play this multiple times through already just to try out different kinds of behaviors.
Yeah, that is so cool that they made it. I mean, adaptive, I guess. The game changes based on your choices, which we see in a lot of games now, but to such a degree, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that would be. I think it's going to be a fun take on something that we're probably looking at through nostalgia glasses and thinking like, oh, it's just going to be a cool action, because the combat has always been very fluid, where you're using a bow, a sword, and magic interlaced. You're moving fast. To be able to take that and then also add in some jokes and add in some wider fairy tales. One of the things that's already coming off is people are like, oh, there's a girl lead. Oh, I don't want to play this game because you can play as a girl, which is just like, you guys suck.
Yeah.
Just, all right.
Don't play. Go somewhere else.
But that's just the character that they designed for the like commercials. You can design your character to be anything you want, male, female, or anything in between. And just like, calm down, guys. It's so annoying that right away people are saying this game is woke and bullshit because, oh, they have a girl playing the character. You play whoever you want. It's so frustrating. This week on Tuesday, the day this episode's coming out, we have a new series hitting Disney Plus called Wonder Man. Now, Jonathan, going into this, I don't know Wonder Man very well. I know the key thing with Wonder Man is that his consciousness was used to make Vision. Other than that, I'm pretty blind on him.
Yeah, I understand that he's an actor and that he kind of is trying to suppress his powers, doesn't really want to be a hero or anything like that. He just wants to be an actor. And that,
that's a different take than an normal MCU character, right?
Yeah. And then, eventually, like, it's exposed and boils out. But I don't know if he's trying to, like, use his power, or I don't even know what his power is, but if he's trying to use it to kind of be a better actor in the process, or if he's legitimately trying to just pretend he doesn't have a power at all. I don't know.
He's trying to pretend like he doesn't have a power in the show. So what I did is I pulled up a fact sheet about him, and I thought you and me, we're going to sit here right now, doing it live, folks, and we're going to learn about Wonder Man together, and we'll kind of break it all down. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds great.
So first off, who is he? Wonder Man is Simon Williams. He's a former industrial heir turned superhuman who starts out as an enemy of the Avengers and eventually becomes one of their heavy hitters. Over time, he also becomes a Hollywood actor and stunt performer, which is a big part of the vibe in the modern stories. So in this show, we see that they're rebooting an old series, which kind of like leans back on that meta thing we were talking about beforehand, to where they can kind of like, oh yeah, the industrial anti-Avengers guy, that's from the old show. This modern version is just the actor side of things. I think that's probably a smart move that lets you have comic book accurate stuff there and not necessarily ruin your show. You know? Yeah. Simon's life falls apart. He blames Tony Stark and the Avengers for his problems and gets recruited by Baron Zemo. He's the villain we saw from Winter Soldier, from Civil War. Zemo, not Winter Soldier, I'm sorry. Captain America. No, what is it? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There it is, Frank. Zemo has him pumped up full of ionic energy to make his power powerful enough to infiltrate the Avengers. Simon joins the team with betrayal on the table, but ends up switching sides when it counts, and that villain turned hero becomes the core to his character. So this ionic energy of his, that's what his big power is. And depending on the era, he's either an ionic powered body that looks more like human, or he can shift into more pure energy state. So it sounds like kind of an avatar mode, right? So he has this ionic energy, and he's able to move into the ionic state when he needs to be more powerful, is what it sounds like.
So is it like he shoots energy from his body? Is he like a big cannon, or does he fly with the energy?
I believe that's part of it, yeah. He's like, his body is pumped full of ionic energy, and he's also got super strength and whatnot. Going further down here, it's a shock on contact, there it is, and other energy-based tricks. So he's able to punch somebody and hit with ionic energy. Okay. And it'll blow up.
I wonder if that might visually look a lot like Miss Marvel's powers. How I think she like bends energy and can launch energy and stuff like that, right?
The MCU version of Miss Marvel can do that, yeah. I think the best representation of it is honestly the teaser for this show, when he hits the table and it like shatters. I think that's kind of the idea of like the ionic energy, like giving him power.
Yeah. Yeah, and kind of we see similar with Black Panther's suit, how it stores the kinetic energy and then releases it. So
kind of like that.
Relate with that too.
That was a good addition to the character. I really like that.
Yeah,
on Black Panther. So here's his main abilities. He has super strength. He's in the top tier for strong Avengers. He has insane durability and stamina. He can take a punishment for a long time. He has flight, but doesn't look like he's gonna have flight in the show. Mm-hmm. But if we remember, actually the reboot they're doing within the show, that character had a jetpack, so maybe that's where the flight comes in. Ionic energy effects, so he's able to do shock on contact and some energy-based tricks depending on what run they're using. And he doesn't need food, drink, water, or air. Boy, that'd be nice. That's a power I want for sure.
So a lot of those sound like they're great for him being a stuntman in Hollywood too. Like he doesn't have to hide the fact that he could take a punch or that he could fall off the building and not hurt his stamina and everything. Being able to breathe underwater, it's like, all right, well, I'll do this scene 5 times as the stuntman for somebody else and don't even have to come up for air.
What a good pitch. What a good pitch as an actor. Like, I'll do all my own stunts and stuff like that. We're seeing in the show that they're wanting to basically blacklist superpowered characters. And we remember this back when like the Red Scare, like, oh, communists are going to infiltrate Hollywood, that they would blacklist people. Do we think this is going to be kind of an allegory for that, kind of looking at like, you can't just alienate people because they have powers?
Yeah, I would imagine. And we also saw in X-Men turning against the mutants and they're trying to make them the enemy.
Hear them, quote unquote.
Kind of always, always X-Men things. So I wonder if this situation is going to tie in with the bigger MCU in that way too. But yeah, I could definitely see that.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope
like
so.
This is going to lead to the X-Men fear that we get later on.
Yeah, just put the little threads together, plant the seeds so that when it's time, it all kind of makes sense cohesively. But yeah, I could definitely see that it's just playing on how individuals groups have been weaponized to create fear amongst the people and divide them for all of our lives.
That's how we do things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Personality-wise, Simon is a self-esteem roller coaster in the best way. He's got that I'm trying to prove I belong here energy. And Marvel leans into it by making him someone who cares about image, performance, and identity. That Hollywood angle is not just a gimmick, it's a pressure point. So he's constantly trying to prove himself, not only just in Hollywood, but also as a real Avenger and stuff like that. So he's always trying to prove himself, and I wonder how that'll stack up to somebody like Tony Stark or Peter Parker, with famously good heroes.
The way you explain that, it kind of reminds me of, though it's totally different worlds, DC, but Peacemaker and his kind of pursuit for identity and trying to prove himself all the time and stuff. I think that plays really well with him, so that'd be pretty cool.
That is something I don't think anybody else in the MCU really has. We have fans of the Avengers, like with Kamala Khan, like she's already a fan of the Avengers when she's basically joining them. Yeah. But I don't, and even Peter Parker, like we saw that too. He's like a big fan of Tony Stark, but I don't think we have anybody who's like trying to prove that they are worth it. Yeah. So that's gonna be a good angle to add to this. Some of his key relationships we're gonna be looking out for, and these are like possible cameos, maybe, is Beast, Hank McCoy, often portrayed as his closest friend and emotional anchor. So we don't have Beast yet in the MCU outside of that other timeline or other universe. So maybe in the future these two become good friends. Scarlet Witch, he's romantically tied to Scarlet Witch at one point. That's why Vision is romantically tied to her, is because they use Wonder Man's brain patterns for Vision. I know that much in the comic books. Oh, here it is. Vision, one of the weirder and most important connections in Marvel lore, because Vision's mind is tied to Simon's brain patterns in classic continuity. There we go. So I don't think that'll ever be used in the MCU, but that could be something that they reference, like, oh, they used random robot or whatever in the reboot aspect of the show.
Because that would take a lot of backstory building to show like him and her falling in love or something like that. And then his brain's used to make Vision and that carries on. And why would maybe he was obsessed with her, but she didn't know about him or something. That would be, kind of complicated.
And then here's a couple comic books I looked up that, because I'm like, okay, I got to start doing my research. I was supposed to do research before this, but Another Seven Kingdoms came out, and I was like, let me reread this book because we're doing a podcast for that. But these are what I'm going to be picking up now. So check out Avengers from 1963, number 9. It's his first appearance and his origin story. And then we have number 151, also from 63 and 64. This is called the What Is He Now? The Development Around His State and Return. West Coast Avengers Annual #2. It's a good little snapshot of him mixing it up with the top tier superheroes and kind of that like eagerness to be accepted by the big heroes. And then the Emperor Doom storyline, which is just a Marvel graphic novel you guys can pick up. A story that shows his willpower and his uniqueness really matters, and how him not being like the other Avengers is kind of a key thing for him. And then Avengers 1998, #2, it shifts him to being the energy form, showing the avatar state of Wonder Man. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see if they can embrace it. That seems like something that you do later on, not necessarily in this initial run. Him being able to do that.
I could see that being like a final scene or like the big boss battle he has to shift and all the stakes are on the table kind of thing. But I hope that that's, if like you're saying, he doesn't have his flying ability, that he only gets that when he's in this energy state, so that it's kind of a bonus. And he's like, yeah, he can fly, but not always. He has to use all of his energy to be able to fly, and then it's just for a short amount of time. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, and I think if we look at like the wider character that we're being presented with, that idea of having to like, okay, I have to embrace myself, because you can tell he's trying to hide himself so much to try to be an actor. Yeah. So maybe he has to embrace himself and fully fall into the ionic power that he has. True. To then shift over to, so it's kind of a little allegory there too, or a little metaphor of like, you have to embrace yourself to be as powerful as you want to be.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
I used the term allegory twice in one podcast. That's probably too much, right?
I gotta Google it after this.
Where's that word of the day calendar? Last little blurb here. Marvel, so this is the MCU version, what we could expect. Marvel's Wonder Man is set up as a show about filmmaking and ambition, where Simon, as a struggling actor, is chasing a superhero role, and brings back Trevor Slattery too, is basically leaning hard into the superhero story inside of Hollywood angle. So the fact that they're bringing back Trevor Slattery, what we know so far is that he's like the acting coach for Simon, but also there's this thing where like the CIA or whoever, a government agency, wants them to keep an eye out on Simon as well. So there might be some like, oh, we think this guy's a superhero, or superpowered, keep an eye on him kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
So Yumi just learned a lot more about Simon and Wonder Man. Mm-hmm. What is it that you're looking forward to the most out of the series now, going forward?
I mean, I do love the kind of undercover, trying to hide in plain sight kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We obviously are going to see that there's some kind of divide between the humans and mutants, or heroes and people with abilities, and that he's going to be hiding for that reason. I mean, he's not trying to hide because it's embarrassing that he has a power. It's because it's alienating in this world that's divided. So that will be interesting to see the world building going on in that, hopefully leading to our future MCU situations. And just his power in general sounds very broad enough that they can tweak with it and make it fit for the big screen really good, which we don't always see. Like, for example, if they put Jubilee on in a MCU movie, it's going to be hard to say she shoots fireworks from her hands and make it look good for what we're used to seeing. Yeah. But
late stage Jubilee is very cool. That's the thing, is like when she's very good, but we don't ever see that version of Jubilee. We always get the fireworks version. So hopefully, when they do bring her into the MCU, they kind of fast forward her a little bit.
Yeah,
she has cooler powers.
But yeah, I mean, I think is just like you're saying from the trailer, from the teaser, it already looks like they've done a good job with his powers. So I think is another slam dunk. I love finding characters that we didn't hardly know about, or they were in a comic book once 50 years ago, and then let's crack it back open and explore them and even add some more depth to that character. Like, we should be doing that and writing new characters as often as possible. But we should be exploring these unexplored characters more often.
I don't know. I know a lot of comic book readers, and I don't know anybody that was reading Guardians of the Galaxy before the movies.
Yeah.
That was a great little find. You bring that out, suddenly it's one of our favorites. I actually just got done watching all 3 movies like this week. So I was like, I need something Marvel, man. Give me something Marvel. I ended up just watching all 3 of those. Like, these are bangers. Every one of these hit well. And you're right. And I think the thing that you brought up that we're starting to see here is that little nugget of anti-superpower bias propaganda in the wider MCU. Yeah. We've been building to it this whole time, and I didn't really pick that up, but you're right. That is there. And that leading into eventually an X-Men story. Good point, Jonathan. Very good point. That'll be interesting. Because you can't have the X-Men without that, right? If they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU, you can't have that without it.
Yeah, that's the majority of their existence, is that whole balance between humanity and mutant control. And I think that's good.
And it's an important part of them, too, in a way that, like, what you should be taking away from these stories is that, not necessarily... Yeah. So, yeah, not just cool powers, which they do have that as well. All right, guys, that's coming out on Tuesday, the day this episode releases. We're going to be watching it along with you, and then we're going to do a full review next Tuesday. Let's look over at the network, what we got going on for the network. Over at This Is Nerding, they're doing the State of Star Wars following Kathleen Kennedy's departure and Dave Filoni coming in. So check that out, guys, if you want more of a breakdown on Star Wars. Fandom Portals just did K-pop Demon Hunters and Accepting Yourself. Man, that's still, what a good movie. I'm still listening to that music. It's so good. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms podcast, episode 2 is coming out is out now when this episode comes out. And I wanted to say thank you guys very much for your reception of the first episode. I've got a lot of nice messages and stuff. I don't think I've explained what the purpose of that show is. So I had messaged HBO like, hey, let me host your guys' Night of the Seven Kingdoms podcast. They didn't say anything back, of course, because it was just a random message to them. But then I was like, what? I really do want to host that podcast for them. Let me make my own and then send it to them saying, hey, this is what I could do. So this is a concept to HBO and to Prime and different studios of Geek Freaks someday hosting some of their future after shows. And that's what this is all about. So if you guys can listen to it and give me feedback, I really appreciate it. And then Headlines is going to be bringing back the Who Is series, where we break down who is characters. And there's going to be one for Wonder Man coming out this week as well. So you guys can get a quick rundown with some of the visuals from the comic book itself on who Wonder Man is. And Outlast Podcast is returning in 1 month as of today. And if you guys want to start to get ready for this, CBS is going to be airing old episodes of Survivor for the 2 weeks leading up to it. And I want you guys to be prepared for that. And during the 2 weeks, the episodes that they're releasing are ones that showcase some of the best moments for the contestants that are coming back. So, like, the time that, name a character, Jonathan, Rick Devens lost a fire and it was like iconic moment like that. Yeah. All of those are going to be re-aired on CBS. So check those out, guys.
And we have a lot of killer contestants coming back too. So
man, I cannot wait. And we got to make sure to go watch it at the barn again because Joe's back on it. Yeah. I will actually just rewatch that scene again where him and Eva came together on that one where she started to have a kind of a breakdown.
Yeah.
That has to be the best moment in Survivor history, I think. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, and obviously Survivor just capitalizes on it so effectively on her natural emotional state and his, and the two of them. It's like this couldn't have been scripted better to make for good marketing and just a all around wholesome scene in the show. So it's like, yeah, they're bringing him back on. Like, please bring Gold for us again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you guys fun. Just work so well together. I'm sure he'll find other people to bond with and relate with really well in the show. But yeah, that'll be great.
Well, that actually is a really good point you bring up, because in that last season, as soon as she came to him and said, like, look, I have autism and I could really use help, and you seem to be a person who... He switched to dad mode. Yeah. And for the rest of the season, he was in dad mode the whole time. It worked well. He got like 3rd or 4th place.
Dad mode or brother mode?
Or brother mode. Yeah, same thing, right? But in this season, saying he doesn't necessarily have that mode engaged, what does he play without that when he's not trying to constantly protect somebody? It's a new version of Joe we haven't seen before.
Yeah, true.
Cool. Jonathan, what is your recommendation for the week?
Oh, so let's see. What am I going to be doing? Oh, duh. Starfleet Academy is out. I just seen the first, I think, 2 episodes. So definitely keeping up with that.
We did a review for that last week, and my take was, I'm surprised how good this is. I didn't expect it to be this good.
Yeah. It's not it's not Voyager or Deep Space Nine or Next Generation. It's a whole different thing, but I don't think it's as geared to teens and young adults as I was worried it might be, just by the setting. So they are definitely doing some good writing and character building and stuff like that. So I like it. I'm going to keep watching it.
Yeah. I'm going to do the same. Mine is going to be a follow-up to a recommendation that Thomas has been telling me forever. He says, hey, Frank, you got to watch the show Hacks. You got to watch the show Hacks. I'm like, finally, I watched it. And guys, he was right. It's very good. Make sure you guys check out the show Hacks. There's 4 seasons out now. 5th one's coming out this year. Phenomenal. And also, if you're going to be on HBO, watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and The Pit. Both of them are going on right now. It's good times on HBO.
Dude, we started watching The Pit. My wife loves it, and she doesn't watch a lot of TV, so that's our go-to now when we're sitting down having dinner. We're going to watch TV. We put on The Pit, and it's really
There's
good.
some gruesome visuals, though, because they don't hold back.
Yeah. It's like, Marco, look away.
Yeah. Well, have you watched the episode where the lady gives birth in the middle of the room?
No, not yet.
Marco's got to go outside for that one because it is straight up like sex ed video. It's like, oh god damn, that's everything. Oh no, yeah, yeah. Check out the pic, guys. It's good too. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for hanging out with us this week. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.